So I've not made a video in a while. Yeah, that's always like me. I have very sporadic creativity drive, but I in the past and today I have been holding off to make this kind of video because I felt like it was pointless, but I feel like people would enjoy watching this. And today I saw a few submissions, I guess, in the past month that have just made me like really fucking triggered. So let's get into it. The first thing, really the only thing that this whole video is going to be about is the elitism that the Battlefield community has, especially over Call of Duty, right? Drifter has documented this in a video he made when Battlefield 3 came out, so it shows that this has been an ongoing thing for the past 7 years. Talking about how his experience was that because he was a Call of Duty player, and he's typically a Call of Duty player and commentator, he's not welcome in Battlefield because Battlefield players are much better than Call of Duty players, and Call of Duty is a worse game than Battlefield, which is, I mean, totally subjective. They are different games, but I mean, if you were to tie it in, like, what was the closest game to Call of Duty or what was the closest game to Battlefield, it would be those two games. Rainbow Six isn't really, because it's 5v5 and there's terrorist hunt and whatnot. I would guess that's sort of the closest. It's definitely not fucking Arma. So Battlefield and Call of Duty are, they're pretty similar games whether you fucking like it or not, and I would imagine that most people that are making this comment or making these comments have came to Battlefield from Call of Duty in the past like handful of games. That's been my experience. I've played Call of Duty 4 up until Black Ops 1. And then I played Bad Company up until I didn't really enjoy Battlefield 1, so I never played it. But what also seems to be happening again is a new Battlefield is coming out and everyone has something to say about it that they don't like about it, but it might actually be a good game like Battlefield 4 was. Everyone didn't have something good to say. They didn't want another a modern Battlefield game. It came out, it had a shit release, it had the worst release of any game like probably ever, but if you look at it now it's like one of the highly regarded ones. Anyway, let's actually watch something. So this post was a month ago, this guy on like console, and you can see that he's moving and trying to shoot someone at medium range and he misses all of his bullets, and you think, yeah, that sounds about right. And this guy was standing still and he was accurate. That's the mechanic in the game. If you move, then your spread is increased. You're penalised for moving and shooting at the same time, and you're not going to hit someone at medium range especially. There are attachments which help reduce that, like the ergo grip and vertical grip, but he didn't have that attached. He had an angled grip which reduces your first shot recoil, so it was likely that this guy wasn't, I mean, it didn't look like this guy was very experienced anyway. Got 2,000 upvotes because I guess people like this guy, who's second most upvoted in the comment section, saying, why are people in the comments defending random bullet deviation? What kind of psycho thinks a player aiming dead on someone miss all of their shots because their aiming is a good mechanic? So he totally doesn't understand fucking balancing in the game. But what he's also doing is he's describing COD's gameplay, which when you read these next tabs that I'm going to click on, you understand why I find it kind of funny that these people, they love to berate COD and talk shit about COD, but they actually kind of rate COD's mechanics over Battlefield's. Now, random bullet deviation is a discussion in itself, right? What people seem to be basing it on is that it's not realistic. People that have never shot a gun before, lol, 21 fucking upvotes, as if Battlefield needs to have guns respond to how they actually responded in real life, which is, it plays into this whole fucking realism and authenticity meme that Battlefield and its community seems to have. This guy knows what he's talking about. Random deviation is good because you can control it by not strafing or firing at max RPM. But it's a whole conversation of it shouldn't be in the game. It should be like Call of Duty essentially, but they don't have the awareness to realise that. And I think if they did have that awareness, they would talk about how much better Battlefield is for having it included. So this one was 12 hours ago, and someone in the comments said, really excited for this game, blah blah blah, thank God for Black Ops 4. And someone replied, who isn't getting fucking downvoted, but he's not getting that much upvotes either. I think anyone who says the words, thank God for Black Ops, anything, should be a cause for instant permaban. Like, fuck me, this cunt just reeks of elitism. Because it's a terrible series and the antithesis of Battlefield games, as if Battlefield is the total fucking opposite of Call of Duty when I've just explained that it isn't. They're two very similar fucking games, and the elitism over it is the cringiest shit. Like, he's not explaining himself. These types of people never explain themselves either, because they have nothing to actually say. It's not actually anything constructive or objective over the game. They would probably find if they played the game they would enjoy it, but they have that own personal fucking complex. And then there was this one which really pissed me off. I don't like Westy. I don't know why. I don't need to say that. This got archived as if he's about to fucking take it down and they want to keep it archived so that they can bring it up against him, because the Battlefield subreddit really fucking dislike him at this point. Talking about the whole realism meme again. People complaining that one of the tanks in Battlefield 5 teasers was catching air. It's a video game. It's not realistic or historically accurate. The dev team never said it would be. You're all cool with having magical bandages, heal bullet wounds, magical syringes that bring people back from the dead, a magical respawn button, spawn beacon, heaven forbid, a tank catch some air or a female be present. And he's totally fucking right. Let's see what people have to say on the subreddit. This guy's a fucking moron shittle. Why would anyone even pay attention to him? He sucked EA's arse in order to get promotions for BF1. Westy and people that use this retarded argument really need to learn what suspension of belief is. So this is the only fucking thing that anyone has to argue against him, besides just attacking him personally, is suspension of disbelief. Suspension of disbelief means the willingness to suspend one's critical faculties and believe something surreal, sacrifice of realism and logic for the sake of enjoyment. I have to really ask this guy if a tank flying through the fucking air is what causes him to initiate suspension of disbelief, as opposed to getting shot like 5 times and walking away from it, getting shot by an RPG at your feet and walking away from it, getting ran over by a fucking main battle tank and getting revived. Like, it comes to this point where this cunt's like, actually, this is really unrealistic. And I think DICE need to think about like how heavy a tank actually is. When I'm running around doing whatever I do in this arcade shooter at its core, I don't want my immersion to be absolutely crippled by seeing a tank fly in the air. That would really, it would just make me kind of think weirdly about the whole game, as if it's not realistic. They have nothing to say against his actual argument, which is totally correct. Drifter has said this before, and he was totally fucking correct. The game isn't realistic. Stop with this autism that it is. It's so fucking cringy, and it makes, like, if you look at some of the comments, you'll learn really what type of community this is. This guy was telling someone to get cancer because they have a differing argument, and it's just like, this is the type of community this is. And maybe I'm stupid for not realizing this before, but this game is, and this community is totally like the Call of Duty community. Or at least the community that the Battlefield community seems to portray and perceive it as, which is a bunch of kids. except they're acting like kids and just attacking people. They might as well fucking say I fucked your mum at this point, because they have no argument against what he's actually saying or against any of the realism memes. They just want to meme about realism and about how unrealistic COD is and how superior and realistic Battlefield is. But all these people in the Battlefield subreddit seem to be active in a community of a game that they actively dislike, which is kind of interesting to me. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. I wanted to get that off my chest. It's been really pissing me off. Said that all I really need to say at this point. I think maybe I've missed something out. Probably have. But yeah, I'd like to know what you lot think. Maybe you'll just attack me personally as well, or maybe you'll have an actual argument. Yeah, thanks for watching, I guess.